Hey guys, GHAZZY TV here with another Path of Exile video for 3.15 League Starter suggestions, and I just finished updating my Dark Pact build guide, which actually, based on the numerical values we saw on the changes, has not been that affected. So in this video, I'm just going to say that this will be one of the really good League Starter build guides that you can use in the upcoming 3.15 Expedition League. Here's some gameplay footage here in the background. I'm going to talk about some of the changes. The control destruction is just god-awful for the approach of playing with the crit-based builds. So control destruction is getting taken away entirely. You get more damage by using something like the increased critical strike gem. However, I don't like having a lower than 80% crit or effective crit strike chance on builds that scales from crit. So I actually went with a slightly lower critical strike chance by using, slightly lower DPS by choosing to run the increased critical strike support instead of the critical strike damage. This build is the glorious peak performance of how a hybrid build works. As you can see on the bottom left there in the gameplay footage, the build is using Petrified Blood to utilize the Pain Attunement to get more damage, and it is therefore over-leeching, and then we are consistently leeching into our energy shield pool through other means from the skill tree and gear. So what's crucial to understand with this build is that it is extremely niche. It's a very unique playstyle compared to many other builds that you'll see. The build is utilizing the hybrid approach of leeching to both life and energy shield at the same time. This means that you do need some source of leech. So early in the league, when you get, for example, self-farming up a tablet or something like that, it would be recommended to use a life leech support gem till you get either a delve drop ring with chaos damage leech or a hunter influenced amulet where you can roll chaos damage leech as well. This will then kickstart everything else. So the main difference compared to before with the changes for the 3.15 nerfs was basically that you now have to change your control instructions into critical strike support, and you change the oiling on the amulet away from the chromatic steel because it's only affecting attack skills now. Other than that, the main thing that I picked up from this was actually that you kind of want to use 2 enduring mana flasks to make sure that you don't run out of mana flasks. Clearing is usually not a problem with this build, but we don't know how the flask chart is going to work in the upcoming expansion. So I would recommend starting this build off with 2 of these enduring mana flasks to sustain your mana cost. However, when it comes to bosses, the biggest problem I've had with this build when you're playing a low budget is running out of flask charges, so that you sit there and can't do any damage versus a boss, which means all your defense and all your offense is just going away. So because of that, it is recommended to go into using 2 enduring mana flasks, which will help with this boss situation. The guide also goes through a different situation where you can utilize a benchcraft on your amulet, which you get from unveiled modifiers from amulets, which gives you a focus ability that lets you have 0 mana cost for 4 seconds during the focus, which is another pseudo solution for bosses where you just wait for that cooldown to come off, and when you use that, you dish out all your damage, and therefore you can go through these boss fights without any bigger problems. But again, I would recommend being very careful with the way you use your enduring mana flasks, and make sure you have 2 of them, and if you feel comfortable when you have better gear, take away 1 of them and use another utility flask, and that's about it. The low-budget approach to this build, we lost a little bit of DPS in rather decent gear. I'm going to show you the gear in a sec. We're doing about 5 million Shaper DPS. The extreme high-budget version goes up to 80, up to 90 million Shaper DPS, but that's also a ridiculous amount of currency. The gear we're showing here is generic 1 modifier with crit multi of some sort with HP. The medium cluster is only a Blessed Rebirth Hulking Corpse Jewel. 2 enduring mana flasks, the new roomies and the new diamond flask, jewel with just generic minion damage when you use a minion skill recently with HP, darkness enthroned. There is a curse and hit assassin mark ring in here. They're not too expensive to get early on with a decent amount of life, but it could be somewhat expensive. So taking this away will drop the DPS by about 1 million, but keep in mind that this is 5 million Shaper DPS, so dropping those things that are putting the DPS up a bit is not going to impact it that much, because if you're doing 2, 3, maybe 4 million Shaper DPS on a league start, that's a lot of damage. Other than that, there's the Chaos Damage Leech HP ring, there's a Chaos Damage Leech HP amulet with Arcane Swiftness being oiled, which is very cheap. Generic movement speed life boots, generic life gloves with a bench craft that increase damage whilst leeching, which is a very good craft. Tabular Rasa being equipped, +3 minion helmet. Don't need to have a bone helmet, just any 86 helmet that you can roll +3 on will be fine. If you get the +2 earlier, use that. Generic ones with increased spell damage, crit, and if you can get crit multi, great, go for that and get a trigger on it as well. And that's about it. So this is one of the builds I would strongly recommend as League starter for 3.15. Let me know in the comments below if this is something you want to play and what you think about the build. Hit the like button, subscribe for more content. Until next time, stay safe, keep rocking.